It's Tom again. Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope everything's going your way. Figured today we'd talk about a few things that I kind of enjoy more, the older I get especially. But this is something that's always been with me. I like old stuff. I like old houses, old trucks, old tractors, old cars. I think it's kind of a throwback to just where we came from and how things were simpler, but yet when you look at them, they're actually pretty complex. I just like it. My old 95 Dodge 1-ton dually. It's got the 12 valve Cummins in it. Got over 350,000 miles on it. And it just keeps going. And this is a 1940 9-in Ford. It has the Sherman transmission in it. You can shift from high to low there. And if you get down here on the side of the block, it shows you the year, 1940, and it's a 9-in. Now this has been turned over or converted to a 12-volt system. And it's rough, it's still got rust and stuff on it. But I use this. I mean, I've got a one bottom plow. I've got implements. Now I did have to change out that shaft. You can buy the shaft and all. Well, it's a PTO. I've just got a cap on it. But you can take the cap off and see the, maybe, got enough threads here. That shaft, when I first got it, it would move up and down, just rattle all over the place. But you can take off. There's bolts around the edges here. What you do is you park this thing on a hill, face nose down. You pull those bolts out, and that whole shaft pulls out because the bearing's bad on them. You pull that shaft out, and Tractor Supply had a brand new setup. It might have been Race Brothers. I think it was Race Brothers. I bought this in Springfield. And you just pull that whole shaft out. It's about 1.5 feet long. You put a new one in. Everything's easy peasy. Of course, it's still old. It's going to leak. It's going to have seeps here and there. But, it's a 1940. Heck, I'm a 1968. Good thing I'm not leaking. But anyway, it's just an old tractor. 12-volt system. It's got issues, but starts and runs like a champ. Let's just see how good she starts. Choke. Oh, well, there you go. Nothing. Generally, you have to mess with the battery a little bit. Let's see here. Voltage jump back up. See if she starts now. Runs like a champ. She's got a little bit of a miss in it, but what I did when I changed the alternator on this thing, because the alternator went out right off the bat, I put a 1-wire alternator on it, and so it has to jump in a certain amount of RPMs before it actually starts charging. So basically, I jumped this over the field. I'm sorry, I should have the field jumped over to the hot side. So it won't start charging until you get it up in RPMs. Once it hits a certain RPM, it don't matter how low you drop the RPMs, it's still charging. But these things were built forever. They're just built to run. But I put new shoes all the way around it. Of course, every now and then you got to put a part on it. You got to cuss it a little bit. One thing about these too that I found interesting, I had a hard time with the charging system. And one thing I had to do, I had to put a resistor in. And I know this is tacky, it's just sitting there, but it is a resistor so that it doesn't cause problems in the charging system. Man, it seems to work. But anyway, it's an interesting old tractor. This is my 1995 Chevy 1-ton. You can tell she's a little dated. She's got the blue swoosh down the side of it. This thing has got a 454 in it. It's got high mileage too. Runs like a champ. Just keep the oil changed in it and keep it taken care of. And it just keeps on going. It's getting rough for its age, but it's an interesting old truck. The thing, I had a friend of mine in Springfield, and he had it, and he passed away, and his wife finally sold it to me after a while. It was an old rodeo truck. Whoever had the first owner of it bought it, sent it down to Texas to get all kinds of upgrades done to it, and it had the paint, had wheels, has a lot of that wood stuff and weird lights inside, and they beefed up the spring pack on the rear end, on the back end here, and it's a pulling machine. Pass anything on the road except a gas station, but it still runs and has treated me very, very well. But that's what I said. Take care of the old stuff and take care of you. This tractor is an interesting little ride. Let's get it started up and moved over here. I'll explain to you. Move the throttle up, push in the clutch, get your key ready. You shut that off by cutting the fuel off, but then you still got to shut the key off or it'll go dead. You're probably wondering why I'm using a knife for a key. Well, when I bought this, it had problems and it wouldn't run, didn't start. And the guy said, well, one of the main things is I don't have a key anymore. And I said, not a problem, not a problem. So what you do in this case is I just took this ring off the key hasp in the back. You just pull it out, and then there has a little plate on it, a little plate about yay big. You just grind the aluminum off, dump the tumblers out, and now I can run it without a key. But just makes it easier. When I bought this, like I said, it didn't run. It had issues. And I got the belly mower with it, but he said it wasn't hooked up. It was just laying there, so I thought, well, I'll take it too. I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to use it or not. It has a little Yanmar motor in it, a 3-cylinder diesel. It's actually pretty torquey. It still has the same tires that came on it. They're actually in pretty good shape. Once I charged the battery was still good. So it actually has the high and low range. It has a PTO engaging, and you're not supposed to run the front PTO and the back PTO at the same time. Now the front PTO, this is the trick. The front PTO is a switch right here, that actually engages the front PTO. What it does is it comes off the front of the motor right here, goes to an electric clutch, and it's in behind this pulley right here. You have to take the battery thing off, and it has belts that come down to a shaft right here. You have a front PTO and a back PTO that goes to the gearbox on the belly mower right there. Now, the shaft that comes off the front, off the harmonic balance, runs that electric clutch, or runs the spindle the whole time. When you engage the electric clutch, that's what engages, that's what clicks into gear, and it clicks that pulley system into play, and it gets the shaft running. Now, the problem is that John Deere has the plates that you have a little T shaft that runs off the front of the motor to the pulley on the back side to the electric clutch. The problem is that it connects in an opposite fashion. You have overlay of the shaft. Okay, it's going to be easier. Here is the front. This is the basically what you would call the harmonic balance, and this right here is the shaft that hooks up to the other end. Now, what you have to do is you bolt through a rag joint to that, and then you bolt the rag joint to the T-plate on the T-bar on this side. And it's the same way on the other side. You can see it in there. You basically have 4 bolts. And now that rag joint is not something you can buy anymore. Basically, they had little plates that you could buy, and they were plastic, and you had to put 2 on each end, 2 here and 2 over there, stack them, and then you would bolt through them. Now, the problem is when these things go out, it is pretty catastrophic. And part of the problem of this, when the guy that had it before me, he didn't really know about this, and it took me a minute too. I'm not going to say it didn't, but what happens is the plates that go here, they shatter or they break. And if this back one breaks, that's okay. Well, it's not okay, because usually it's just one bolt's left in it, and it switches up and it just tears the bottom out of your radiator. So I had worked and was just going to break down. Then you have to have the radiator fixed, because the new one's like super expensive. You're just better off to get it fixed. And to get it fixed and rebuilt, it's about $500. So if that tells you something, it's way cheaper to do that than to buy a new one. Anyway, back to it. It took me forever to figure out what I was going to do, because like I said, you can still buy these plates, but they're somebody made them. They're not John Deere. John Deere took them out of circulation. They don't even make them anymore. So you have to find somebody that's actually making them. I found somebody that had made some 3D printed ones. That kind of scared me, because I didn't think, I don't want to spend another $500 on the radiator. So what I did is I ended up taking an angle grinder. Now, you're not going to be able to do this otherwise. I cut the sidewall out of a tire and put it in here, and I thought, that's great. That's a wonderful idea. Yeah, no, it's not. I ended up tearing those out pretty quick. And so what I did is I took an angle grinder and I actually cut circles out of the steel belted side. So this is two layers of steel belt, and then several layers of bias on this. So this is actually the tread side of a tire. So I had to put that in on there, and then there's one on that side too. My recommendation is to go just a little bit bigger than what you think you need. The only drawback is that one in here will rub against the bottom of the battery box, and it smells like burning rubber. But you got to understand, you got tons of room under here, so it'll be fine. You smell it for a minute, and more than a minute, but then it stops, and you're okay. Now, when I picked up the belly mower, see, I got a huge yard, so this was going to make a wonderful difference, just mainly because of that right there, a seat that bounces instead of a seat on my riding lawnmowers that just kills your back when you get off. Anyway, when I got this, it had the deck and it had some bars, and they were just a pile of stuff. I had no idea. So I started watching videos on this and tried to gather as much information as I could. It's a little bit more in depth than a person would think, but you have to make sure that that slip joint right there is oiled really good, because when that comes off, it's really, really loud. You check your gearbox for oil. You have these lift bars. These aren't the lift bars. These are just, I don't know what they are. They're pivot. There's a pivot point right here, pivot point right there, which basically helps everything lift up. You lift from the back. Now, when I got this, like I said, I don't think I had all the pieces, so I had to get different bolts. And there were arms that come down off the backside of the 3-point. And when you lift the 3-point, you actually lift the deck of the mower. So once you find out the height you want, I just put a Sharpie mark where I wanted it, and that's where it sits. I mow in 6th gear, and that's just been the perfect point for me for mowing. Unless it's really thick, then I'll drop it down to 5, but that's a little low. And I'll run it in high range. So, but this has been a really neat little tractor. It's done me pretty well. It's treated me well. I mean, I've had to put some money into it, but, you know, I actually tried pulling a bush hog with it. That didn't work very well, because every time I wanted to turn, the tires were off the ground and it wouldn't quite turn. So I had to use the right brake or the left brake to turn. That was very inconvenient. I tried plowing with it. It's just not quite heavy enough. It's got the power. The tires turn, but it's not heavy enough to yank you where you need to go. One thing I've had an issue with is every now and then when I go to start it, it'll click. And what this is a geared down starter. So it's got a lot of torque. It's got a high torque. This is actually your Bendix. And what you have to do is you tap right there and it'll usually start. I know that sounds silly, but I took this apart and there's washers in there, and you can see where they're all scarred up, where they've hit. They just it's electromagnet, so they just jump against each other. And where they hit, they were getting real scarred up and real nasty. So I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, put it back together, and it seems to work pretty good now. But yeah, this has been a pretty good tractor. I got it for a really good price. And like I said, I got it for a good price, but I did have to sink some money into it. And the guy that sold it to me, he seemed to be happy, and I was happy too. So it's been a real big blessing for us. All right, next thing we're gonna look at, got a 1970 Mustang. It is a coupe. It's not the fastback. A lot of people wanted the fastback. A lot of these just went to the crusher because they love them. They came out with straight 6s in them, and they were just kind of a grocery getter. They were supposed to be sporty, and people didn't really fall for it, and they didn't really care for it. They wanted the fast car, they wanted the fastbacks. But this, to me, is really, really cool. It's got the 302 in it. It's about time for it to be rebuilt now. It has it's a roller 302, roller lifter, roller rocker. It's got a little bit of a cam in it. I put an HEIDUI system in it, so it's a one-wire distributor. It has an Edelbrock carb on it, headers, basics. It's got a flex fan. That's one thing I want to change. I want to go with an electric fan. I want to go with the radiator it's actually been rebuilt. It's a 4-core, so it's plenty of cooling. I want to go with a different alternator. I would like to go with a one-wire alternator. It makes a difference. This looks like truly a barn find, but it's been sitting for a while. I've been trying to figure out which one I want to get going first. This one right now has a problem in the suspension. The driver's side front wheel was setting out sideways, so I thought the ball joints were out of it, but it's not. It's the lower control arm neck in there. That bushing is bad. So I've got one of those ordered. Basically, I just pull that out, knock it out of there, pull all the components loose. It's not a big deal. And unhook it from the lower ball joint, and we're good to go. Put a new one in. Bada boom, bada bing, we're done. But I also have another problem with this one. We didn't put brass freeze plugs in this one. So guess what rusted through in the worst possible spot? Right underneath that header right there, I have a freeze plug that's bad. It rusted through and just drained everything out. So that means pulling the motor. So yeah, I've got to pull it all apart, pull the motor out. It's not the end of the world. It's just a job. So in my other place, I had a shop with a concrete floor. Here I have a barn with chat, hay, dirt, feathers, firewood. It's just I got a lot of stuff in the way. So this is one that I will be doing soon, and if you guys want me to do this, we'll hop on it. But she's a pretty slick old car. She's dirty right now, but she's pretty neat old ride. She got a 4-speed, pretty clean on the inside. I mean, overall, drives when the front end's right, drives like a dream. And she'll just get right down the road. But she's not a drag car. She's a light to light car. I guess what I mean by a light to light car is that you're not gonna win an 1/8 mile or a 1/4 mile race in it. She's a good little girl, but she's not that. I've been to a lot of these drag races. This is not a drag car. This is one you hot rod around town in, go get ice cream, go to cruisings. But as far as racing, from one stoplight to another is about it. And the sweet spot's about 5,500 RPMs. She's fun to drive, but you got to remember too, this is something that caught me off guard. She still has drum brakes. Now, that wouldn't be a big problem if you don't want to stop, but they get hot, they tend to swell out, and it makes the shoes are hard, makes it hard for shoes to grab. But she's a good old car. I'm kind of excited about getting her going too.